It's the end of the year, the last episode of 2019, and the last episode of the decade, unless Mark and I randomly decide to do one on that other week, but we're probably not going to. Anyway, it's episode 103 of Hotline League, and boy, am I excited to be here for this this very special, especially special episode of Hotline League. We're going to be drinking on this episode. You can join us if it's legal where you're at, but, drink in moderation and make good decisions. And it's going to be a look back on previous months of this year and previous years of this decade. Mark Zimmerman's excited to be here.
Hello.
Mark, do you have any other enthusiasm you can bring to this episode?
I got a mic stand from Travis, and I finally set it up, and it doesn't work with my desk, and I don't think it's a very good mic stand to begin with. And so those two things in combination have rendered it functionally, well, not functionally useless, but just really I should not be using this mic stand right now.
Marcy from Alienware's in the chat. She wants to know what we're drinking. I'm drinking a Blue Moon. It's the Belgian white. It's left over from the White Elephant gathering I had this weekend.
I'm drinking Veranda Blend K-Cup black coffee.
Wait, you're drinking coffee?
Yeah.
You're not going to drink like a beer or wine or something?
Did you ever listen to me? I said all I have is wine and I don't want to drink wine. I feel like you don't listen to me. I tell you my desk is funny and you buy me this.
It's going to be a great episode, everyone. It's going to be the greatest episode ever, as you could already tell. It's all coming together. Big shout out to Alienware, by the way. Not only are they...
I would drink rum, I just don't have a mixer.
Not only are they in the chat... Wait, add the rum to the coffee.
Yeah, okay. I just did. I can't wait. Let's get messed up, dude. Let's reminisce.
Big shout out to Alienware, by the way. I think we're interrupting the sponsor shout out with... Anyway... Big shout out to Alienware. Not only are they in the Twitch chat, but they also sponsor the episode. We'll talk more about them as the show continues, and maybe we'll reminisce about Alienware. It'll be great. Mark?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I love reminiscing. I'm a very sentimental person.
Well, okay. We'll also say, by the way, we don't officially have a guest for this episode, but we're going to have different people from the industry joining us for periodic times throughout the show, assuming they show up. They're always here normally, so we'll see if they pop up. Regardless, this is going to be open calls for the guest slot and open calls from all of you as we talk about 2019 and the decade itself. Mark, how was your week? Anything interesting happen besides the tragedy with the mic stand?
We did a white elephant at your place.
Mm-hmm.
That was wild.
What did you get again? Oh, yeah.
I got some candles and something else. What else was in there? I forget. But it was mostly the candles.
Picture frames. Framed
picture
pixel art, which you've decided you don't like.
Well, I just don't. I care more about framing pictures of me and my girlfriend in them than the arbitrary pixel art.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Oh, whoa.
People don't know this about Mark, but he's actually a romantic. It's very cute.
I am a romantic.
Wait, so we did the white elephant. That was fun. Did you do anything else this week, or was that literally the only thing that happened for you in the past?
That was pretty much it. We went shopping, and that was a nightmare.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, that's to the Century City Mall.
Oh yeah, that place is insane.
Well, also that parking lot is just normally shit. It's probably the worst parking lot I've ever been in. Parking structure, I should say, combined with holiday shopping in a area like Century City it's so fucking, like, there's intersections like everywhere. Like, you get legitimate T intersections like every 10 feet in that parking structure, as opposed to like every other parking structure where it's like you just go straight and hope you find something and you don't have any decisions to make. And then there's people just waving people around in circles, and they have no idea where to send people because there's legitimately no parking. It's actually full, and they just let people in. You drive in circles hoping you can find it. Okay? It's the worst piece of shit ever.
Well, as you can tell, we're all in the holiday spirit here on Hotline League, and we're going to be sharing the holiday spirit throughout the show with all of you and you with all of us. And if you'd like to, maybe you don't get on the show, you can't call in to share your sort of take. If you want to gift something excellent, before we get into the first call, I want to shout out the ability to gift subs. You can gift subs to this channel, and they make an excellent holiday gift. If you are thinking about, you're in the giving mood, the holiday mood, feel free to gift to the Twitch channel. You can surprise somebody in the chat. It's fantastic. Look, Mac to Ace right now, gifting 5 subs. Hitstreak, gifting 10 subs. Damn, this worked out really well. 15 subs were just gifted in the chat. You can totally... Damn, that works so well. I love Christmas. Anyway, let's get it. Mark, as you're pulling people, because maybe we should put more guidelines. I think what we're looking for, if you have like a 2019 take on something that you were really excited about this year, something that you felt a little disappointed by, we're looking back at 2019. And then if you have something crazy you want to talk about this decade of League of Legends, this decade of esports, feel free to also put that in either the pleb topics or the subtopics channel. Look, even more people gifting in the chat right now. It's the gifting time. Regardless, I think that's what we're going to go for. And if you are a friend of the show, feel free to hit up Mark or myself, and we will get you on. Mark, what about 2019 or the decade have you been excited about?
It's been a really long time. I would have been 18 when the decade started, so it feels kind of weird to just kind of classify it. My first alcoholic drink was cool, I guess. That was
I was thinking more about League of Legends or esports. Also, thank you, Basile.
You said the last decade, so I was just going back. I graduated.
I guess, like your career didn't exist yet.
No.
I don't know if you wanted to think, excitedly about what this time has been like for you.
Can you show me how it's done?
Yeah. So 10 years ago was 2009. For any of you guys that have not been keeping track, I was in college. And StarCraft 2...
I thought you said relevant to our careers.
StarCraft 2 was, I believe, about to come out. When did it come out? I want to say like 2010.
It's the wrong game.
And that was really what got me into esports. And I was also around this time playing League of Legends. So I think I was in the StarCraft 2 beta. I was also playing League of Legends. Started really getting into esports with StarCraft 2 and had no idea that then like a decade later I would be hosting a show. I had no aspirations to ever be on camera or do podcasts or anything like this whatsoever. And now here I am trying to fill time while Mark thinks of anything valuable or interesting that happened to him in relation to League of Legends or esports in the past 10 years.
You didn't say anything either. You just said you didn't think you'd
I'm talking about
camera.
it right now. It's been a fantastic decade. So many things have happened.
Programming. I was a programmer. I was in college. No one thought they'd be... How many people in Twitch chat even thought that they are where they thought they'd be in 2009? Has anyone sat down in 2010 or 2009 and now they're exactly where they thought they'd be? That seems more impressive if you were able to plan that far ahead.
I'll say one thing. I thought I'd be married by now. I traded a relationship for esports fame. And you know what? It wasn't worth it. All right. Do you have anything you want to throw out there, Mark? Anything before we start taking other people's calls?
No, I mean, it's been a great... Let's limit to a year. The whole decade thing is just like... It's like... Who can remember what happened yesterday, let alone more than 6 years ago?
People might have crazy stories about how League of Legends esports has changed their life over the decade. Maybe somebody else got married because of League of Legends esports.
Yeah, those are better stories than anything I got.
All right. Well, whatever. Let's just get into it. Mark, do you want to explain how the show works?
Yeah, 1 second. Tweet.
By the way, thank you for all the people who are gifting right now. We saw somebody that just hit a year, Sadistic Narrow. Thank you.
If you've never seen the show before, it's a live call-in show. The way this works is you're going to go ahead and join up in the Discord. Once you get there, go ahead and post your take in the top the text channels, either pleb topics or subtopics. We're going for things that happened this year that was interesting, not interesting. Maybe we'll open up to the decade, things you got right, things you're disappointed about, anything along those lines. And then we'll pull you in from the pleb calls voice channels where you need to be hanging out so I can actually move you to the waiting room. When it's your turn, we'll do a quick audio check and then you'll be on.
And by the way, if you are a sub, maybe you just got gifted a sub because we've literally had, I don't know, 20, 30 subs gifted on the show already. But feel free to drop your topic into the subtopics channel. It moves a little slower. It's a little easier to get in there as well and have your topic taken. And yeah, no, it's been a fun time. Mark is pulling people right now, but oh, and by the way, I should say we're less interested in like 2020 predictions. I feel like that's going to be the next show. 2019, we're looking back at this year or the past 10 years. Mark, I guess, biased against the 10-year takes. I'm looking, and then the next episode I'm going to be looking, and we're going to be looking for 2020 predictions. So as you are spending time with the family during holidays, or maybe on your own playing video games, both are great situations. Also, just be predicting and thinking about what you want to talk about in the next episode of Hotline League. That should be your main goal during the break. How are we looking on callers, Mark?
Good. Let me start pulling some people in.
Okay. Mark is off grabbing his first one. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and pull up some subs right now while Mark is in the other chat, because a lot of people are being very generous on this episode, which I really appreciate, because we're not going to probably do another one of these, so I got to make some money. Hitstreak is here. Hitstreak, where are you calling from?
I am in lovely Santa Clara, California.
Santa Clara, California. Hitstreak, do you want to give your esports... What have the past 10 years been like for you from an esports career perspective, so that people have your resume?
Oh, God. Yeah, so 2013 started at Riot to basically drive social media for the LCS. 2016 transitioned to Twitch to head up the esports social channels there for Twitch esports. Did that for a little bit less than 2 years, then moved down to Overwatch League, worked on the inaugural season for Overwatch League, and then decided to get out of the social media game and worked on the community program for Overwatch, where I started working with influencers. And then just earlier this year, after the layoffs, moved to NVIDIA, where I'm now heading up influencer relations, or the influencer program for NVIDIA.
So this is a guy who's done some shit. And by the way, we all universally talk about his time at Riot as being the golden age of the LoL esports social media channel. All right, it's something that we all talk about. It was the best time ever for the LoL esports social media channel. Anyway, that was whenever my interviews got retweeted. Let's just put it that way. Jesse, Hitstreak, what are you looking back at 2019 or the past decade? What has this been like for you?
Dude, it's been really cool to be kind of on the ground level, and I see chat saying that I'm quiet. I don't know if that's on my side or on your side.
I was lowering you a bit because at first it was a little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you sound plenty good to me. I don't know what Travis is doing.
Okay. So yeah, it's been really cool. I came in at the beginning of season 3 for League of Legends, and so being a part of kind of I would say like the first golden age of League of Legends esports. I feel like they're going through a resurgence right now. For the last I'd say year and a half or so, has been really, really cool to see kind of a resurgence with esports and the interest in the game. But yeah, kind of seeing the transition from the League of Legends glow up to then seeing kind of Dota come in with the international, and seeing all the money being put into that, grabbing a lot of headlines. At Twitch, I kind of saw the glow up of Rocket League esports, and then to be there at the start of Overwatch League, I've kind of seen things go from Control being primarily with the publishers to now the publishers wanting, all this big money from outside to kind of carry things through to the kind of the next stage, with the franchising of the teams. It's been really interesting to kind of see things transition and be kind of around all of it. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
What's interesting too is that you now have kind of exited esports, and now you're doing more influencer stuff, which obviously is related. And I'm sure you work with esports-esque or competitive influencers. But it's interesting that after all your esports time, you're like, all right, maybe I should start hedging my bets.
Yeah, I think it's we were actually talking about this the other day, because you're seeing a lot of Overwatch League pros kind of take a step back from the league and kind of go the streamer route, or retiring after basically just 2 full seasons of the league. And I don't remember any, like, I wouldn't say exodus, but I don't remember in League of Legends, you know some of the most notable names in League of Legends esports dip out after just the first couple of seasons. I feel like um, that there was a couple of people that dipped out, but that there wasn't like the big names. Everybody was kind of in it for the first few years. Um, so that from an influencer perspective, it's been interesting for me to kind of see kind of the transitions that the big names kind of exiting the league, and deciding, okay, you know what, this is actually better for my health, or this is better, a better use of my time, or I see better prospects as an influencer or a content creator than I do being a part of this.
Are there any moments in your esports time that really stand out or have left like a pretty meaningful impact on you?
Yeah, the events, the live events, specifically Staples. The first time we did Staples Center, season 3, um, that was amazing. Being on the ground floor and seeing that all kind of come together, and you don't, like, fans, for better or for worse, don't really get to see how the sausage is made, and it's probably better. But the way that all came together and the madness that was going on during that event was really cool. Um, and then Korea was ridiculous. I was in Korea for 2 weeks straight in Seoul, which wasn't even the longest time. Like,
This
there
is
were
back
people
in
that spent the better.
2014.
Yeah, this is 2014. Yep. And there were people that spent the better part of 3 months there. From before group stages, getting everything set up, all the way through grand finals. People spent a really long time in Korea, and people don't really. I don't think fans really understand like what goes into all of these events, but it's pretty ridiculous. So those were probably the two biggest things um, that I kind of come away with, is just the magnitude of the live events, and how special that is, and what that means to a team. The events team, the live events team that kind of goes into those broadcasts and making those things happen.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, I know you are not a very retrospective person, Mark, but looking back at the decade, it's kind of crazy to see just how commonplace these major arena events have become for League of Legends events. Like, you got to perform live on stage in Vancouver, I believe, right?
Yeah, I guess that was pretty cool. Jamming on stage and singing horribly was not something I thought I would do at any point. It's weird for me because I was not like an esports kid really until League of Legends, and even then, it was like season 2, and by that time, I think the finals was played in the Galen Center or something.
Yeah, season 2 was Galen, season 3 was Staples.
Yeah, so I guess it was starting to ramp up, but like that was still during the time of like a lot of the events were in IEMs or stuff like that. But I wasn't there for like Freaks Basement stuff, or even like from other games like their come up. So like when I joined League, it was already like the biggest thing esports had basically ever been outside of Korea. So it definitely felt like I skipped over a lot of the growing pains, and even the League growing pains. I wasn't really in the scene until the start of season 4, which is a year after LCS started. So I'm definitely not the latest, but missed the rougher period. So like the growth doesn't feel as insane to me, because it was like, that's how it's always been.
Well,
for the most part.
What's crazy for me, like Izento brought this up. He mentioned PAX in the Twitch chat, and what's crazy for me is thinking back. 2015 was the first time where LCS finals was held in a major location. Before then, the summer finals took place at PAX.
Yep.
And that was when they had the event at Madison Square Garden. And now it just feels so insane for, like, people complained when it was at that Miami location last year. And that was like only 3,000 people. But compared to and like last year was 2018. So in the course of like 3 years, it just became commonplace that spring and summer finals should just be in major arenas. It's kind of an insane situation if you think about just like the the scale that everything broadened out to in just a couple of different years, it's pretty insane.
Yeah. Did you see the thing on the subreddit? I think it was yesterday or maybe today about some of the stuff this year, like viewership numbers, and they were like LCS in 2019
Yeah,
thing.
I know Riot released a document. Is that what you're talking about? Where it just talked about how it's like the third biggest sport now among 18 to 34-year-olds in the US?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah, Riot put that out, and again, you know, at the beginning of this decade, Riot, like at this time, 10 years ago, League of Legends had just come out, and during that time, you know, 10 years feels like a long time, and it certainly is, but it's become number 3 among 18 to 34-year-olds, which, in my opinion, are the most important people. So, it's fascinating, for sure, how crazy things move. Either way, Hitstreak, any final thoughts as we move on to the next caller?
No, I just I appreciate you, Travis. It's been really cool to see you grow.
Thank you.
Since we met. Yeah, Travis, when I first met him, was just asking for handouts. You know, hey, can I get a retweet? Hey, how do I get over? I think it was 100K followers at the time.
Yes.
So, but seriously, you know, a lot of the people that I've met along the way have kind of followed the same track that you've taken upon yourself to do, which is go independent and, you know, take your life and your destiny into your own hands. And I'm really happy for you, dude. So congratulations on the show. Congratulations on all the success, and keep at it.
Well, I just want to say, Hitstreak, who works at NVIDIA, #FramesWinGames, and I'm really excited about the products that you guys are putting out next year at NVIDIA, and would love to, anytime you need anyone to sample them or discuss them in some content, please feel free to hit me up. Would love to have you hand me out one of those wonderful products. 2080 Ti's are fantastic.
Let's talk after the new year.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. You've
got a great hardware sponsor. Alienware treats you good.
Alienware is great, and by the way, they're also an NVIDIA partner. In fact, with NVIDIA, we are giving away a G-Sync monitor, Alienware G-Sync monitor. You can go enter that right now. Retweet on my Twitter account. Anyway, thanks, Hitstreak.
All right, take it easy. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Hello, Twitch chat. I'm curious. Mark went off to grab some more people in the chat to come on the show. Excited to see that. If you are, by the way, if anybody wants to pop on the show as a friend of the show, would love to have you join. Mr. Frosty Dab, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Hype Love Shack, Deck Jamkin, Sins Kaping, Danny Koji, Mama's Cupcakes, Neon Puddles, Gorgith, Mac to Ace, and then Epions, who gifted 10 subs. Insane. Thank you. Ron Blade is here. Ron Blade, where are you calling from?
Calling from Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. We have an Australian on the show. Is it 2020 there yet?
Not quite.
Okay, because I know the time, it is a little in the future. What do you want to talk about on the show?
So I've got a disappointment and a hype moment of 2019.
Good, I appreciate you keeping it balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. So my biggest disappointment of 2019 was NA fan reaction to the Worlds performance, because I just think the biggest thing NA suffers from is unreasonable expectations. And then my biggest hype moment was TL beating IG at MSI. But let's talk disappointment first, I guess.
Yeah.
I just think that NA fans should just be stoked that for so many years, Cloud9 have just been overperforming at a tournament that is absolutely stacked. It's just, you get all the best teams in the world together, and then getting to quarters means being top 8 in the world, or at least being top 10. It depends on the groups or whatever. If you just go through the regions, in the LCK this year, a gutter tier team was KT Rolster, and that team had Smeb and Prey on it. So to be in the LCK playing professionally, you need to be a better ADC than Prey. You need to be a better top laner than Smeb. And you just think about, and every mid laner that has ever played in the LCK for the last 6 years has been able to scrim against Faker for experience. And so I just think the level of benefit that they get is insane, not to mention solo queue, all the other stuff. And then you've got So that's like getting 3 teams from LCK out of groups doesn't seem a surprise to me at all. Then you've got LPL, which literally every year there is some incredible player that everyone's like, oh man, the fans have been waiting for this guy to get to Worlds forever. He's so insane, and now he's finally here. That was like last year was Rookie's first year at Worlds, he wins. This year was Doimby's first year at Worlds, he wins. Like this league has just got talent like so much further down than the top 3. And so again, it doesn't seem crazy to me that the top 3 LPL teams get out. And so then you're like fighting for 2 spots between EU, NA, and like the rest of the world. And I just think that like this year, NA didn't get one of those 2 spots, but like that's totally reasonable considering the situation. And so, I mean, I get that it sucks, but I think instead it should be more like, holy shit, like Cloud9 have managed to get out like pretty much every year. And we got to semis last year. Like that's actually pretty incredible.
So your take is that a disappointment this year is not NA getting out, or sorry, not NA struggling to get out, but actually just the fans' reactions to that. You feel like NA fans they need to reset our expectations possibly for the next decade.
Well, I don't know. It's just kind of like I actually thought the teams didn't do. I mean, Cloud9 was a bit iffy this year, but then again, like their group, you have Griffin and you have G2 in that group. I think like if you watched Clutch's games, like it was actually they were in the most stacked group and they didn't play. Like there were times in those games where they did all right, and so I felt like they put up a respectable performance even though they went 0-6. But and then TL did okay as well, but again, like pretty insane teams in the group. So I just think that like if our success, and I say our because like I'm an NA fan as well, like I think if our measure for success is like getting out of groups, getting to semis, even getting to finals, like we're just setting ourselves up for sadness every year, and it should be more like, holy shit, like we actually made top 8 this year. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Mark.
I'm pretty on board with that take. I think it doesn't have to be defeatist necessarily, which I think a lot of people swing too far in the other direction when you start talking like this. Is they're like, oh, well, then what's the fucking point, man? And you're like, well, I mean, you can be a fan of a team and acknowledge that we are the underdogs of the 3 other major regions. If you just look at the stats of how things break out over the years, it's like there's Korea, and then there's like China and EU, and depending on which metric you care more about, one outperforms the other. And then there's NA, and then there's LMS, and then there's all the minor regions. And so like being like, yeah, we're like Korea and Europe, like you will be disappointed to the caller's take. Like we are not as good as them. We have never performed as well as them. We can, and maybe you get your hopes up eventually, but I don't think that's the time right now. And so like when you do have these victories, you should be happy. That doesn't mean you can't be upset when your team fails. You can still be like, God damn it, I thought Team Liquid was better because they're the best North American team ever, right? So the fact that they didn't is disappointing when quote unquote worse teams like C9 over the past 3 years, once again in quotes, worse, didn't make it. So I can buy this take. I like it.
I think it's hard because Riot and the esports ecosystem has positioned the 4 major regions as NA, Europe, Korea, China. And so there's this concept for North American fans of like, yeah, we're up there with all those folks. It's no surprise to me, by the way, that the caller coming in with this take is from Oceania. He's like, sometimes
his eyes are open.
You got to consider yourself the underdog. Like you can't always come in with the expectation that you're like the big region. I think it's quite fun that you're calling in with this take.
Maybe that's it. Maybe the real problem is that I live in Australia, and then because of your content, I started following NA, and now I'm just like stuck in an endless cycle of defeat. So I'm just like trying to find other ways to find joy. I'm trying
to decide how I feel about what you just said, because at one point in time you said because of my content you started following NA. I felt like that was great, but then you immediately implied that it was possibly causing depression for you. So I'm a little mixed feelings on that.
It definitely goes both ways. But I just honestly though, I mean, like I feel bad for like teams like TL, teams like C9. You think about the people that these guys scrim every week, and then you think about the people that the LCK teams are scrimming, who the LPL teams are scrimming, and it's just like totally insanely different, the level between those things. Like I don't want to shit on individual players, but you look at bottom tier NA teams, like it's not going to happen.
it doesn't even need to be something where you're trying to pick out the excuses either, or like the reasons, because there's a million different ones, and which one's the most important is different in everyone's mind. But at the end of the day, I think everyone kind of acknowledges North America isn't as good. Some people delight in that, some people are bummed about it, but we're not. And like step one isn't acceptance, but it's one of the steps.
I think
But I guess
this
we need to get
acceptance
to.
is the final step. It's step 5.
Is it the final one?
Yeah, because you go through all the emotions and then you accept
Well, I
it.
thought it was like anger,
It's like denial,
sadness. Yeah.
denial,
One of them is bargaining,
anger,
which I think is
there's
the import
bargainings in
strategy.
there. There's 2 more.
All right. Well, I guess I thought we were further down than we were, or I guess acceptance was faster.
Yeah,
But
no,
so
it's the final step.
maybe it takes another year then before we're there.
Another
This
decade.
is kind of the perfect like leverage point into my hype moment of the year, though. But this is why when TL beat IG at MSI, it was so insane. I mean, I think people forget now because of Summer Split, but like IG destroyed MSI group stage. Like it was, they just looked absolutely unstoppable, and no one came into semis thinking that TL had a shot. Like even all the, I mean, we like Kobe would say he never doubted them, but like let's be real, like no one was actually betting on them to win, and then for them to come out, win game 1, win game 2, forget about game 3, and then bring it home. Like it was absolutely wild. I was like on a flight, and so I was just like in the airport, like watching on my phone, and then they won the first game, and I'm like, no, this is fine. This is just like IG screwing up. And then they won the second game, and then it was like my hour-and-a-half flight, and so then I was like, holy crap, what if I miss this? Anyway, and so then I like get off the flight, and it's like they've lost game 3, and they're winning in game 4, and then I was just like glued to my phone all the way to where I was going, but it was like just unbelievable.
That's actually a super good hype moment for the year, actually, because that might have
It's
been the
the
hypest
best.
moment for NA fans this entire year, right, Mark? I mean, I can't think of anything that was better, possibly the best moment for us all year long.
Yeah, for sure. I would say it's probably the biggest upset ever in League.
For sure.
Like
Kaboom!
maybe.
Alliance was pretty.
No, that's just a wild card beating a major region. That happens like every year once almost. It's like the stakes were
So
huge.
stakes is so important. I think when you talk about upsets, like IG was set to be the new dynasty. They were set to like, take SKT's crown and, be this new super team that was just going to smash through every tournament. And then instead, like TL comes in, and it wasn't even like it wasn't, I mean, it was close at times or whatever, but TL just played really solidly as well. Like it didn't feel like a total explosion on either side. It was just like solid play, and they pulled it together.
Yeah, and I think it was also just cool. I don't know why, but Travis, myself, and a couple other people were watching on Discord. And usually I don't think I've ever watched games online with people before. But for some reason, even before that series started, we were all in that call. I don't know. It just felt like, for some reason, the one time that it
And
actually
possibly
happened.
the reason they won, because we were all at a TL party for my birthday. Well, not the party wasn't for my birthday, but on my birthday, we all go to this party, and then they just completely get crushed by G2. So that's actually
the fastest best of 5 of all time.
That might have been the most depressing. Our highlight
That's
of the year.
The problem with it. It was we didn't get much time to party in it.
Our highest moment and lowest moment might have been within 72 hours of each other, very short space.
You just got to focus on that interview with Doublelift after the game, where he got to talk about like finally winning and just like the joy. Just watch that and pretend that was the world's final.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. I watched a lot of interviews with Doublelift and just focus on those. Anyway, thank you, Ron Blade. Is there anything you want to say as we move on to our next caller?
I just thanks for putting out the content. I always listen to Hotline League when I'm doing boring tasks at work that I really don't want to be doing, and you help me through. So thanks, team.
And that's really what the show is. It's to be slightly less boring than the most boring task that you have to do. That was our content strategy.
That's the biggest thing going for us, is that the real world is so fucking boring that we just need to be a little better.
Yeah.
I mean, last time I was here, I like told you that you were the reason I care about NA. So, I feel like I've got to be a bit more chill this time.
Well, I apologize. Caring about NA is a terrible curse to put upon anyone, and
we're sorry. Sorry for your loss.
Absolutely.
Thank you, though.
Thanks, Tim. Have a good one.
Have a good holiday and a happy New Year.
You too. Bye.
I watch Hotline League for the white noise.
That's the best part of that is that's my financial advisor in the chat saying that.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Jeff Chen, by the way. Feel free to all message him on Twitch right now if you need any financial advice. Doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be stocks or anything. Actually, here, I'll tell this funny story really quickly because I'm probably not going to do it anymore. I had this great bit for the Gaffies, which is coming up in January. Everybody stay tuned for that, where I was going to announce that I had officially become an LEC team owner because Astralis is listed on the Danish exchange. They IPO'd, and so you can actually go buy Astralis. And so I asked my financial advisor, who again is in the chat, to please buy me some of this. And he investigated it today, and apparently it's like incredibly hard to buy it because they're only on like Danish NASDAQ or something. And so I had all these bid ideas where I was going to like threaten to fire Deficio, and I was going to demand access to the LEC team owners meetings, and it was going to be very good. And I'm now very sad that it's apparently incredibly complicated for me to buy Astralis. So I will unfortunately not be doing that.
Because that was going to be such like a gold mine over the course of the year of owning Astralis' stock.
Yeah. Yes. Well, yeah. Apparently, it's so. Originally, I thought it was $7. I looked it up, and it said that like a share
That's what you told me.
is $7, but apparently, it's 7 Danish kroner, I believe. So anyway, he looked it up, and it's apparently only $1 in US. And it was gonna cost if we could have bought it, it was gonna cost me like a $7 transaction fee to buy this $1, which obviously I would have been fine with for the joke, but it's just a funny situation.
Do I want to make chicken? Or do I want a bit of Astralis stock?
Yeah, well, regardless, it would have been great. And it would have been such a great appeal to the LEC audience. Like, hey, guys, I know we had our problems in 2019, but I've officially joined as a part team owner for 2020 in the LEC. You know, I'm going to be covering LCS, but really I'm just trying to find data to help the LEC.
Yeah, unlucky.
Yeah, but again, Hefty Chen in the Twitch chat. Anyone who needs any financial advice whatsoever, please message him, whisper him on Twitch. Look him up on his other social medias. Ask him anything. Even if you're trying to decide which car you should buy or if you should buy a house, he's going to help you out. Anyway, on to the next caller. Mark is already off and grabbing them. Shout out to the La Pointe in Twitch chat, by the way. Nicole from Evil Geniuses. She thinks that I don't notice her subbing to the channel. She's currently living evil after apologizing to everybody for getting rid of the terrible Evil Geniuses logo, which looks like a hockey puck. I actually thought it was terrible, and I really like their new logo, but then I don't know who complained, but a bunch of people complained, and now they have to go back to the old logo, which is awful. Gagachu is here. Gagachu, where are you calling from? Oh, and then he or she immediately mutes. Wait, you're back. Gagachu.
Wait.
I hear you with your microphone. Gagachu, where are you calling from?
Sorry. I am calling from Sacramento, California.
Sacramento, California. Nice. I was just there for the Gaffies at the beginning of this year. Thankfully, Sushi Dragon moved down here, so I don't need to go back. But what do you want to talk about on the show?
Unfortunately, invite me. I have been playing League of Legends actually since beta 2009, and I am really surprised that the game has just continued to survive all these years. I played it in college. I've played it. I still continue to play it now. The first event that I ever went to, I was actually looking it up while I was waiting, was a IPL face-off in San Francisco, and that was in August of 2012. That was the first time I met you. It was the first time I saw Afromu and Chaox. I was continuing to even go to those IEMs, even to the most recent one, which is IEM 11 in Oakland, and that was in 2016. That was awful. But it's just incredible to me that a game like League of Legends has survived, opposed to like Pawn, like 1, 2, which is still around. But so many other games that classify as MOBAs and everything. And with Riot taking so many steps to continue to develop additional games, I think the future definitely looks bright for a company like Riot in terms of their future moving forward as a developer compared to game developers that are already established.
You say you're very surprised, which sounds almost like an insult. You're like, I was playing back in the beta. I'm just surprised this game's still around a decade later.
Hey,
I think it's fair to say when you compare it to the games that I've mentioned that didn't survive. Games that have come and gone.
You thought Heroes of Newerth was better.
I don't think so. But there was just so many other MOBAs. Like, what made League stand out? What made it survive?
Well, I think that's what's interesting to me, because like I look at World of Warcraft, and no better MMO really came along to, quote unquote dethrone it, and so now people are still just playing that. And I feel like we're getting to that era of gaming where the best one that was like, people always talk about, oh, graphics can get shinier and this and that, but like fundamental design doesn't really change for some genres. And if it stays popular enough, it just stays as that game's genre, like, Kingpin, which is kind of what happened with World of Warcraft. What is this, Travis?
He mentioned IPL Face Off as his first event, and so I went back and found this. I love this interview because obviously I look not great. Not that I've gotten much better, but this is my favorite version of Nick Allen, where he looked like a college professor, and this is an
to be
interview
honest, he doesn't look that different now.
Well, he looks much older. The wrinkles, especially if you see him in person, are they're very pronounced. Anyway, but this is an interview from back then, and I just thought it was great to go back. But sorry, we were talking about the resilience of League of Legends over a 10-year period.
Right. Well, I was just saying, like, in terms of games, it feels like some just are going to stay there and be what people play. Like, Melee's kind of taken that on. There's some franchise-esque games where they make new ones that are slightly tweaked, but they're largely like Madden's, Call of Duty's, some of the fighting games like Street Fighter and stuff. It's all the same franchise, and they've kind of just dominated that genre. It feels like that's what happened with MOBAs and Dota 2 and League. And there's like no point. Like, there's that little period where people are trying to capture the same magic, and we'll be the next LOL, we'll be the next WoW, and then it doesn't work out, and they all die out, and then the one thing is still there. And I feel like that's what's happened with League.
Like, I don't know. Very embarrassing, not embarrassing, but a very strange story to tell.
Is it at all related to what I said?
About the resilience of League of Legends. I always think about this story. Hang on. This is like a double F story to tell. I'm going to hide the Alienware logo really quickly. There was in college, so 2009 flashback, I remember somebody linked me a very explicit Rule 34 picture from World of Warcraft. I was playing a lot of League of Legends at the time in the beta, and I was thinking to myself, wow, I wonder if League, because it was such an indie game, people do not understand that this was like a random ass indie game. I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm playing so much League of Legends, I wonder if there's ever going to be like a Rule 34 image of League of Legends. Now there's an entire fucking subreddit just dedicated to Rule 34 to League of Legends. It's a very funny situation that, it's just the scale of what this game has become over the course of 10 years is pretty insane, and I feel like you can really track that in the pornographic imagery that's created around it.
You really underestimate the internet. Having porn of something is really not. I mean, nobody look.
It was unclear if anyone was going to play League of Legends in 2009.
Well, sure, but I just mean there's porn for things as soon as they start.
Can you give me an example?
No.
Back to the caller. She got you.
I'm just saying.
She got you. So it sounds like, do you still play the game regularly?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What is it? I'm just looking at Twitch chat. What is multiple Twitch staff members in the chat? What do you think you'll continue to play it for many years to come?
I think so. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about how much time I've invested into a game that is literally free to play. I mean, I could have spent $0 on this. I have just invested so many hours over the last years. There have certainly been years where I've played a little bit less than others, but for the most part, it's been very steady. I could say with a pretty good level of confidence that I've played close to 2 to 3 hours a day over the last 11 years.
Really? Jesus.
Yes.
That's crazy.
As an average.
How soon are you going pro?
Not soon.
All right. Well, Good luck. Either way, hey, yeah, no, I think that is a really interesting story. I was watching Tim Rogers, who does amazing videos for Kotaku, and I know everybody in the chat's gonna be like Kotaku, but he does amazing content over there, and he did a video that released today about his video games of the decade. And I was kind of bummed, though unsurprised, that League of Legends wasn't on there, because technically it did release at the very, very tail end of 2009, but I mean, this game it's hard to think of too many other games that are up there in terms of the impact that they've had over the course of this decade, and especially just esports, which now I feel like so many people actually know what esports is, whereas, 5 years ago they had no idea. And you've got all these major investors and stuff. Just the fact that League has driven so much of this innovation and pushing esports over the course of the past 10 years in the West, it's been pretty phenomenal.
How many games did he list for his decade important? What was it? What was the article? It was like most important.
It was an article, and it was like
it
was like the 10. He listed 10 games of the decade, and the ones he had on there are pretty good. I mean, he did a pretty good job. I think one of the problems with all of us industry folks is sometimes we forget about some of the one of his games was literally Flappy Bird, which it wasn't like 10 best games, but it was just like the 10 games that had like a big impact, or you could make some compelling case for it. I bet you Mark, I'm sure, can guess what number 1 was. I don't want to give any spoilers, but pretty big.
Was it Dark Souls?
I don't want to give any spoilers, but people can go watch the video. I recommend it. But what
is it called?
I'll message you privately and say what number 1 was. Anyway,
what's the name of the guy?
Tim Rogers. Everyone go watch Tim Rogers videos. His Twitter handle is 108 on Twitter. He's hilarious. He does these massively long videos about. I think Mark, I might have linked you. He was the one that did the.
Oh, he was the Death Stranding guy. You showed me. Yeah.
But anyway, he did one on the decade.
Let's combine our own lists of 10 most important games.
We're supposed right now. You want me to come up with 10 games of this decade?
No, we're combining. So you do 5 and I do 5.
Okay.
League of Legends.
League of Legends.
We'll alternate.
Wait, did you pick League of Legends already?
I just picked League of Legends. This is not a power ranking. It's just as they come into mind.
StarCraft 2. We haven't defined what this list is supposed to be.
StarCraft 2.
It's supposed to be the most important games of the decade.
Okay, so they're including ones that I don't play.
Yeah.
Okay, so StarCraft 2.
Not your personal list. No, StarCraft 2 shouldn't be on this list. I'm vetoing your choice.
Okay, Dark Souls.
Ah, fuck. What are some important games that came out?
CS:GO?
No, CS:GO's been out for a long time.
CS:GO, just because they reskinned it doesn't make it a different game. Same reason I wouldn't count WoW, even though it is still probably the most important MMO of the decade.
Okay, I've got one. You whenever you're ready, Mark. I'm ready.
Ah, shit. Are we alternating?
Yeah, you wanted. This is what you wanted. We're completely derailing the show with this incredibly extensive.
Well, that's because I'm trying to stall because we're out. No one's really putting anything important.
Well, we can say Twitch chat. Now's your chance to come on the show. Go put topics and pleb topics and subtopics. Mark.
Okay.
Give me your next one.
Skyrim.
Okay, Minecraft.
Oh shit, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That was that in 2010?
It was released in 2011.
Oh, is that late? Wow. Maybe I played before it really came out because I remember playing that.
What's your next one? I've got another one.
College.
I'm not even looking at your list, by the way. I'm not looking.
I swear you are.
No, I'm not.
I'm looking at.
I looked up. I googled Minecraft to make sure that I'm looking at a Minecraft page right now. I googled that to make sure it's up in 2011, but I got another one.
Oh, Fortnite.
You said Fortnite? Okay. Pokemon Go.
Even though it's late, I would still count it. What'd you say?
Pokemon Go.
Oh, that's a good one.
What are we at now? I think we're at 6.
We've each done 3.
Okay, yeah. So two more. Your turn. Now it's gonna get difficult for me.
Yeah.
Caller, do you have a suggestion?
No.
Mario Galaxy?
Also no.
I think it revolutionized what video game music looks like in games.
How? I'm interested to hear this take because I admittedly have only played a little bit of that game.
It was really well known for being one of the first to introduce actual full orchestral scoring in games, and since then, I mean, it won a lot of awards for its score, not just a video game.
I thought there were a lot of games before that had orchestral scores. Maybe I'm crazy.
But since then, a lot of games have tried to emulate that in terms of full orchestral scores.
Yeah.
Mark?
Sorry, that was maybe a
I'm
little.
not sold. No, I like that it's a different take other than just like big game. You know, it did something interesting in the genre, like in the series,
Sure.
the space. I would say like Breath of the Wild, but I don't think it's actually like that important in the sense that like anyone's going to copy it.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm ready. I've
Like,
got
it
another
was-
one,
it was
so
just
please,
dope.
please say something.
I'm gonna keep thinking.
Should I say mine and then catch up on
Yeah,
it?
go
Okay.
for it. 'Cause
Walking
I don't
Dead.
want to think
Walking
of like,
Dead. I did not play that game, but I feel like that kicked off this entire genre of like all those Telltale games are very different, and I think
Didn't-
was a big deal.
did anyone make that many other games? I thought those were all just Telltale games. Like Telltale was just its own thing.
Yeah, but I think they did something unique. And I feel like the future of games, like there will be more of those in the future. I think people aren't doing them that much right now.
Yeah.
Does Battlefront 2 get an award for infamy?
No. There's a lot if you want to go down that path. Shit, dude, I'm drawing a lot of blanks. 'cause
You
I don't
started
play, I don't
this.
play enough games. I know.
Okay,
I thought
maybe we declare bankruptcy then, because I don't want the show to stall out on this topic.
let's just Google some more.
No, we
Best
don't need to Google.
games
Can we
of
please
the
pull some more
decade.
callers and get back on the this,
You can do that.
train?
I'll think of some more.
Going back to my topic though, it's
Thank
kind
God.
of interesting to think of like how the progression of fame, like outside fame to League of Legends has occurred over the years. Like I was mentioning IEM season 11 2016. That was when Mark Cuban was there for the event, and that was like a really big thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
I mean,
quite as
Elon was
prevalent.
at like one of the final, like the Vancouver finals, I want to say. Or maybe he was at one of them recently, within the past couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely become this huge event, I feel like.
Now we've got much more prominent people in social media and sports. Obviously, Rick Fox, things like that talk about League of Legends and esports a lot. But I think when Mark first came on, Mark Cuban came on for the IEM, that was like a really big deal.
Yeah. Hey, G got you. Anything you want to say before we move on to the next caller?
No, thank you so much for all your content. Every time I look up your Twitter, I still by default look up SOTL Travis.
That's a
From all the
reminiscence.
years.
I miss T Nomad. That was my dude.
My email address is still travis@stayleague.com. Now I'm going to get a bunch of emails, but I still use that, and somebody made fun of me the other day for it. I don't want to give it up. I also have travisgafford.com, but I just want to stick on the Stay League throwback.
League has been something really important to me, like in terms of keeping up with my friends over the years. And that first event that I went to that we met you, I was looking forward to meeting Afro and Chaos, but he just like beelined towards finding because he was really interested in your content and was super excited to take a picture with you.
Well, thank you. That's really nice to hear. I really appreciate that. Thanks for
Shout out to Brian, who was super excited to see you that day.
shout out to Brian. Does he still follow League?
Yeah, I'll definitely send him the VOD when we put this up.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for calling in, man.
Thank you.
Have a good one. All right.
Did you think of any others?
Somebody in the Twitch chat, I was reading Twitch chat, and somebody mentioned Undertale, which I think is also a really good one.
Yeah, I would put that in there. I put Journey as well. Someone mentioned.
Yeah.
I think Journey was really different. Is that 9? Do we just need one more?
Yeah, I think you only need one more.
What was the biggest Wii game?
I don't know. But
'Cause that was a
the
Flop of
Wii,
a console.
the Wii was starting to pretty much die by 2010, I think. So
Oh, was it? Actually, I guess it did because I remember playing the Wii in high school.
I
guess.
got it for Christmas in like 2007. 2006. Christmas 2006. So
Huh.
all right, let's grab another
Weird.
caller.
All right.
And Nick Allen, if you're listening right now, please call in. It'd be great to have you on this episode. Just say something, shout something out. Talk about how you've become disillusioned in esports or something over the past decade. I don't care. Who cares? All right. Shout out to I love you, chat. Moses for the win, 710. Mac to Ace, who gifted earlier. Nanuko, 111. Grant Walk, Cacti, Snarf051, Nihilist Gamer, Helpside, and Caroline for the 100 bits. Mozzarella Moose is here. Mozzarella Moose, where are you calling from?
Lakewood, California.
Lakewood. You know, I went to school in Long Beach.
Oh, you go into
CSULB.
Cal State Long Beach?
Yeah.
Yeah, figured. I'm Fullerton.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, sorry, we have to say goodbye to you now. Have a good one. Now, what do you want to talk about?
How the best show of Hotline League this decade was the live episode right after Rift Rivals.
Oh, the one where it just evolved into
EU coaches coming in and shitting on NA.
Yeah, with Peter on the show and him just asking
Yeah.
him questions to try to figure out how to solve his team's international problems. Clearly, it didn't work, but no, yeah. I mean, go ahead, Moose, if you want to expand on that.
I mean, it was a show that I remember that had the most guests on it. It had free alcohol. Overall, it was just like, it was a live show. So I was there, so I might be a little biased towards it. But the only thing that I thought was really missing from the show was Mark Z's cat.
Yeah. Well, if you can, Mark, in the future when we do a live one in LA, can you put a collar on that thing? Mark?
He's a giant scaredy cat. He's bugging me right now. So, this guy right here, this little man, he's a big scaredy cat. He doesn't like people. Travis came over and he was not about that.
Yeah. Careful, don't shake the cat too much because it's a Twitch thing.
No,
Anyway.
he likes it.
I thought that was super fun. And that kind of highlights one of the things I want to do a tweet storm about this, and I probably will at a certain point.
Can you hear him doing that?
No, what? Oh, bumping the mic?
Yeah. Is this like ASMR, like cat rubbing on?
This is what this show has devolved to now. Now the cat is literally just. Dear God.
I don't know what it sounds like.
Yeah, well, for the podcast listeners, they're gonna be really confused. It's not that much. It just sounds like you're bumping the mic, but.
Oh, it's my cat throwing his face against it.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed that. We've done a couple of those this year. We did one in St. Louis, and I mean, the first one officially, I guess, was last year in Miami, but we wouldn't have been able to do those if it wasn't for Alienware. And I want to do a tweet storm. I'm actually going to do one probably sometime this week, just thanking them for all the cool shit they did with us over the past week. It's where you chain multiple tweets in
a thread.
Yeah.
Why is it called a storm as opposed to a thread?
Well, it's
is there
like
a time...
you're dumping a bunch of tweets out.
Yeah, that's what a thread is. It's supposed to be like.
Anyway, Mozzarella Moose, you enjoy anything else? Do you go to LCS often, or was that one of your first events?
I went to LCS like 2 or 3 times. The main reason why I actually went to LCS that day was just to actually go to the Travis Gafford show.
Oh, wow. Thank you. It's called
Featuring
Hotline
Mercy.
League, but I also really appreciate the branding you're giving it.
Shout out to Alienware.
But no, I mean, that was super fun. I mean, I think Mark and I never anticipated doing live shows until we had that random idea ahead of Miami last year, and Mark insisted that we do it despite the considerable cost that I had for that show, since it was...
I will say, I disagree with the caller. Though that one was really good, the MSI one, but I think Miami still takes the cake for me.
Yeah.
But that might be also just because it was so much more ridiculous, kind of,
Well,
where like the venue was weird, the setup was jank, but it all kind of came together.
Yeah, what people don't know, and I don't mean to diss a former partner, but our hardware partner back then, before Alienware, we went to them, so they sponsored the show, like Hotline League, but they didn't. We went to them for the live, like we were like, hey, can you throw some more money down for this live show? And I don't know, they just couldn't do it, right? A lot of different reasons why companies can't do something like that, but whatever, they didn't do it. So we had to foot the bill for that entire episode out of pocket, and it also, we had no idea what we were doing. So like Alienware, for instance, for all the shows that we did this year, they had like an event company come in and actually build out the whole space and find the space and do all the heavy lifting for us, and then we just had to worry about all the production. And so that Miami episode was just a shit show. Technically, that was 2018, although I guess we're talking about the decade. But yeah, that one was
decade.
That one was very stressful. I don't know, there was a ton of crazy stuff that happened. ahead of that. So it's been really cool that we've been able to do these live events for the past couple of years, and especially that we were able to do multiple this year. I thought that was quite fun.
Yeah, I would say my top 3 Hotline Leagues live ones would be first that Miami, then the All-Star one from last year,
All-Star one was really good.
Yeah, then the MSI.
What, you don't do St. Louis? St. Louis I thought was really fun.
What did we do in St. Louis?
That was the one where like
I
Captain
wouldn't-
Flyer showed up at the very end, and it was the first one where like the bar, like everyone was getting free alcohol. So just
Oh
everyone
yeah,
was
wait, the
going
St.
crazy.
Louis one was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in that place that had like it was like horseshoes or something in the middle.
Yes, yeah, we were in the like a bocce ball pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was cool just because it was rowdy but respectful.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I like that one more than the MSI one too.
Marcy is in the chat right now. AW said she works for Alienware and is actually the person that runs all their events. So all the Hotline Leagues that happened this year are because her and her team put that all together. It's really cool of her to do that. I'm glad she's on the show and we're getting a call in about it. Thank you, Mac to Ace, for another 5 subs. That's very nice of you. Well, either way, thank you, Monster Moose. It's cool to me that one of your standout moments for the year was that show. Especially because we didn't know how well, like, that show actually also had a ton of concerns where we weren't sure. We were trying to ferry like people over from All Stars. We didn't know who was going to show up. A lot of the players didn't show up, and then we had all the European coaches show up and just shit on NA. So it was kind of fun.
I would, if that's how they go, that's how they go, man. I'll drop some booze and stuff for them to show up and make fun of us.
Oh, the St. Louis one was the one where we got the Reggie and Steve bet.
Yeah, that one was pretty wild.
That then like Riot kind of tried to get them to shut up about because it was questionable, if that would work or not underneath LCS rule set. Either way, Mozzarella Moose, anything you want to say before we move on to the next call?
Just a shout out to my friend Whitney, who actually went with me to the show and gave me his drink ticket, so I got multiple drinks.
Oh, you were one of those.
Well, okay, I asked the lady, and she said you can have as many drink tickets as you want. So we got a couple.
Nice.
I mean, if it was on you guys, why not?
Yes, it was on Alienware, so you can thank them. Either way,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the call.
Okay, bye.
K-Bye is the best exit ever. Maybe we should do our break since we were just talking about Alienware, and it'll just make the whole show feel like a giant Alienware ad.
Cool.
All right, great. Well, let's talk about that. So Alienware, actually, since this is the last episode, I want to talk of the year. I want to talk about, I'll just sort of reiterate what I was going to say on Twitter today. I apologize if you see this, but I was actually just reflecting today on how much Alienware allowed us to do. So I was thinking about it because I have an interview with Mark Merrill that's coming out later this week, and we have a 2-camera setup that we did for that. And I remember when I first went independent, the only camera that I had is one that's sitting over there on that shelf right now. I see it, which was like a $500 Sony camera that I bought from Damien over at Team Liquid like a year before. And we now have, like, I have a shelf over there now just full of equipment. We've got multiple cameras now that are multiple thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars in glass or lenses. We this year bought a $5,000 worth of audio equipment for our interviews, like the lavalier microphones, which are usually very expensive. This giant light mat that's sitting down here, you guys can't see it very well. Anyway, the whole point is, not only did we manage to get a ton of equipment and actually really level ourselves up to the point where now I feel like we're on par with a lot of like the other digital media sites, but also we had, a lot of people don't know this, actually I don't think I've ever said this publicly, but Alienware literally gave us a essentially what is a giant Alienware / Dell gift card every quarter to just buy whatever we needed off of their website. So that's how Mark ended up with a laptop. And I think, do you have a monitor now, Mark?
Yeah, I have a monitor. It's,
all my stuff got refreshed. I mean, I have what is super extra is this giant 55-inch OLED gaming monitor on the desk behind me. Our editors all got stuff. We were able to hook up Ovly and FastFeed with stuff. They've just done tremendous things for us this year. We went to China, did a documentary. We did multiple live events. We've done so much stuff because of Alienware. And so at the end of the year here, I just want to thank them so much for their support of the show and all the content I've done. And just literally the fact that, now I think it's just become kind of commonplace, the production we're able to bring. You know, like the types of stuff. It doesn't sound that crazy for us to do a live show, or for Broden and I to go to China and create documentaries, or for like our standard long form interviews like the one we did with Rick Fox at All Stars to have a level of polish behind them, multiple cameras, you know, real microphones. So I just want to say thank you to Alienware. And by the way, we talked as we're talking through at the end of the year here, and it turns out that a lot of you have done a great job of checking out. You know, I know everywhere I go. So alienware.com/Travis. There's links in the description. I meme about it on Twitter. But a lot of you guys have gone there. You've supported. I've gotten so many DMs over the course of this year just talking about like, hey, how can I buy an Alienware computer? I want to help you out. Just a lot of different stuff. And I just want to thank all of you for supporting them. This partnership has been really incredible. They've allowed us to do stuff that I never even imagined I'd be able to do going independent. So thank you so much to Alienware for their support of the show, and thank you all of them for supporting them. Oh yeah, Hefty Chen, who's my financial advisor, literally in the chat says I use Alienware for my work laptop, and bought that as part of the partnership. He wanted to support what I do. I guess knows that it probably all goes back to him anyway. And Marcy in the chat right now saying, love you too. You're a great friend. Looking forward to many years. Thank you so much to Alienware.
Sponsor of the decade, Alien.
The great, like Marcy works on the events team. Like it's not like she has to worry about, you know, how's Travis's shout outs going or how's our logo on the show. And she hangs out and just watches the show because she's invested and wants to see, you know, what the kind of content we create. So either way, thank you so much to Alienware. Great partner. You want to grab the next caller?
Sure.
All right. Twitch chat, you guys are so funny. Anyway, let me shout out. So yeah, Mac to A skipped another 5 subs, which is crazy. 20 pounds of hummus. Thank you for the 15 months in a row. I'm Elvis for 21 months. Gangfanger for the 2. Thanks everyone for enjoying our. I know it's kind of a chill show this week, but Sadistic Nero, to Chalks, Purple Ray Q, Bunker King, Ollie One, Turnrid. Thank you for the 5 months. Dak Jamkin. Derek, thank you for the 6. And bits, there's a bit war going on right now between Fish Molson and Caroline for the bit leader position, I believe, is what I'm seeing in the chat right now. Looks like we got our next caller, 101 Demontations. Is that how am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, you got it, man.
Okay. You have an accent. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Glendale, Arizona. I don't think
I have an accent.
Man,
okay, maybe
I could
Travis
identify
has
a
California
Glendale,
brand.
Arizona accent from anywhere. You guys have
Okay,
just the
cool.
funniest way. Anyway, what do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I want to talk about G2 winning MSI and how I think it's really important for EU, and it's just like it was my highlight of the year, at least. I thought it was really cool that they did that.
Hey, sorry, we're out of time. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to move on to the next caller. Is there anything you want to say here as we move on?
Yeah, twitter.com/Demonte. Make sure you follow it.
No, great. What?
Demonte, why is it you're from NA? Why is it your favorite that EU won?
Yes. No.
I mean, Team Liquid did make it to finals, which was pretty cool in itself. And I was rooting for TL, but it's just cool to see Western teams kind of like catching up to the East in general.
Well, it definitely cemented the narrative that kind of started at the end of last year, right? Of the West and the gap closing and all that stuff. Now, obviously, after NA's unfortunate performance at Worlds, it feels like that meme is kind of done. But it's you're right in that after seeing Fnatic make finals last year and then seeing G2 make MSI finals and win, I feel like that really did change the narrative in a way that halfway through last year we wouldn't have been able to really consider.
Yeah, I think even just like for Worlds, the fact that they came in as a favorite is so different from anything before outside of like season 2 or 3 maybe, because outside of that I don't think any team had come in as an actual favorite from West.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, as well as the fact that they made it to the finals again and they lost, but it was like I actually thought that they were going to win, whereas when Fnatic made it last year I was like, well, yes, they beat them in group stage, but I don't think that they actually have a chance. And so like that, I don't know, it just feels completely different when you're watching. It did make it more disappointing of a final, I guess, than the Fnatic one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like,
I mean, it was also just in general. I mean, both of them were both very
the games weren't
disappointing.
great. Yeah. That said, I completely agree with the caller that like the importance of that win following up off last year, that it wasn't just a complete flash in the pan and all that stuff was really, really important.
I actually think that that's one of the narratives over the course of this decade, right? Was sort of this. There's a video on my YouTube channel of a bunch of the NA pros on an old episode of State League talking about how Korea will never catch up. And so we kind of have this arc now of, and obviously, China won this year, so it's not crazy, but, the West winning, thinking they would dominate, then for, 5, 6 years? Asia, especially Korea, just took over. And now we're kind of ending the decade with the West, again, presenting itself to be a pretty big contender, at least Europe. And China kind of closing out the Korea reign. I commented that somewhere that it was going to be potentially, or at least 2 years before we see Korea win something. So, because MSI is the earliest that they can win something. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is really weird. And it's cool that it all happened within the same decade. So you have like the start of League, Korea is not included. EU versus NA is the real rivalry, and then they come in and take over. China, everyone kind of knew I think everyone kind of knew at some point China would kind of become the best, just with how popular it is in China. But at the very least, like, Europe came with them, and it wasn't just, oh, it's Korea's turn, then it's China's turn. The fact that, Europe has inserted themselves into that conversation is really cool. And the fact that it all rounds out this decade as well.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that MSI this year was a first West finals, it'd be hard to picture that, 4 years ago. So it's kind of crazy. Crazy. Well, anything else any other takes that you want to add to that, demontations, or any other expansions on that thought?
I don't know if this is important, but I just like to bring up that basically every single major region except for NA has won MSI now. So I'm rooting for them next year and hoping that they kind of close it out for 2020.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't even really thought about that. That's cool though.
So that would be an interesting narrative to talk about maybe next year. Yeah. But I think that wraps it up for my call.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, one more time, twitter.com/Demonte. Shout out to Thorin. He said he doesn't have enough Twitter followers. You have 1,000 people in chat. That should be 1,000 more followers.
Thorin said Demonte doesn't have enough Twitter followers?
Yeah, he said his brand's too small, but his show got canceled, so I don't know how much his opinion matters.
Well, he canceled his own show, so I don't.
Hey, that still counts. That means Hotline League's on top again. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much for the call. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you guys. You too.
I like that idea that like you got canceled by yourself.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know if it's more impressive or less impressive.
I think I just think the phrasing of it's hilarious. You didn't quit, you got canceled.
Yeah.
But I quit my job. No, you got fired by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
All
right.
What's some other ridiculous? I just love that phrasing.
By the way, we have space for a couple more callers this show. If anybody else wants to call in and reminisce, if you want to put your take in the subtopics channel or the pleb topics channel, feel free to do that. Mark is going off right now to grab our next caller. Fish Emulsion has been throwing a ton of bits at the channel. Thank you for that. As well as, shout out Mama's Cupcakes. Very nice of them to throw some subs this way. Ethics is here. Ethics, where are you calling from?
What's up? I'm from New York. Pretty late right now, so can't talk too loudly. But
all right. Well, I turned you up to 200%. If you can get the microphone a little closer to your mouth.
All right. What's up? Is that good?
I hope so. Twitch chat will be complaining if it's not, but we've done everything I can. What do you want to talk about on the show?
All right. So, obviously, end of the decade, big decade for League Esports, arguably the biggest esport. So, I just wanted to know what you guys think. Who would be on the Mount Rushmore if you had to pick a Mount Rushmore? So, like the 4 most important players of the decade.
Double lift.
From, I guess. All right. Well.
Let's
double lift, I guess. From, I guess, NA and EU. keep it to that.
Are these separate Mount Rushmores you want or same?
Well, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Let's
'Cause,
just do, let's
it'd be
just
hard
do
to fit it
one
on 4.
to make it
What?
easy.
Travis, we have a half hour to do this last call.
It'll be hard to fit on.
No, we're gonna grab more calls.
All right, you do that.
Look, the
go ahead.
subtopics and the pleb topics, everybody's in there putting all their takes in. I even
There's been 2 takes the entirety of tonight in subtopic.
Regardless.
You go ahead and pull who
pick
who
your
looks
topics
interesting. You go ahead and pull whoever looks interesting.
double
I
lift.
will break this into 2. I think we should do separate ones for NA and EU.
I just don't. I feel like I'm going to offend a bunch of EU viewers by not listing the right people.
How hard is it? You just put in fucking Expecke for the past, Reckless for the entirety of EU's
Perks.
lifetime, basically. Perks, and then probably Caps.
Well, hold on. If we're talking the whole decade, what about the old, like Alex Itch or something?
Yeah,
like that?
I would put Alex Itchin
All
over Caps.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that over Caps too. He was
Caps?
way too important. And
The guy who
I
made
would say, sorry,
back-to-back World Finals from Europe, you're going to put Alex Ish over him?
Yeah, I think he doesn't even get edged out by Alex Itch. I think he gets edged out by Perks. I actually think Perks has just become such a crazy story with his role swapping stuff, and I don't know.
How close do you guys think Diamond Prox is?
Not even close. Because I feel like for a decade, you needed to achieve something like early league esports. To me, is like, yeah, he won in an era. I mean, so to be fair as well, they did put up some good matches against a lot of the early Korean teams, Moscow 5, but it wasn't like super dominant for multiple years, like a true dynasty like SKT was, right? It was like some of season 2 towards like the last. Travis?
Sorry, you cut out, Mark. What was that?
I cut out?
Mark, please continue.
Okay. I was just saying that Moscow 5 had like a year and a half of dominance, arguably, depending on how much you want to count season 3 dominance. That's all it was. I don't think it was quite the same level as some of the other most dominant teams. I think Soaz is probably this Alex Ish and Soaz I can see as being legitimate snubs from mine. But I think what they've achieved in the modern era from like people like Caps and Perks deserve a little bit more credit than some of the more like foundational achievement.
What about Froggen? Froggen's a snub, in my opinion.
I don't know. What'd they win?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on how much importance you put
Mark,
on
if
like,
you
early league.
if you shit on
That's what I was
Froggen,
saying, yeah.
I'm going to quit the show and we're going to cancel it. This will be the last episode.
They did when it was mostly North America and Europe. People like Alex Ish and Froggen were the best in the world. But when other regions started cropping up, they put up a good fight, but they didn't win that many things. Right? Whereas people like Caps and Perks have won things in the modern era.
Yeah, I tend to think of
When it's
LEC
more
as
competitive.
coming in 2 waves. I mean, we kind of talked about this on the last call, right? But I
Yeah.
feel like there was early, and then LEC kind of hung out for a while. And obviously there were players during that time. I don't want to dismiss them or anything, but it does feel like this past 2 years has been the like renaissance of
Yeah.
LEC.
There's like the early, and then there's like the bridge years, right? When Reckless, Soaz, Sven, like the
the
OG
highlight there was like
Fnatic.
Origin.
Yeah, the 2015
Aranea.
year was like kind of the bridge year between the eras because Expecke was still playing then,
Right.
and I think Expecke needs to be on there for sure.
Yeah.
But then like I think Expecke had better achievements than Froggen or Alex Ish.
Well, and he built Origin as well, which obviously ended in not a great way, but is back now. And I think he definitely deserves it.
So I don't know. I think it's tough, but we're also not the European experts. So
North America.
And maybe I'm giving too much. Maybe I'm giving too much to modern. I think someone could make that claim that I care too much about the modern era.
North America. Double lift.
North America.
Bjergsen.
Double lift. Bjergsen. Reggie.
Divers.
I mean, like,
I'm trying to decide if I want to keep Reggie. Reggie's the question mark in my mind right now, but
it depends how much work, because you
if
mentioned
you give him
Origin,
credit for TSM.
But are we limiting this to play? I feel like we should limit it to play.
I don't think so. I don't think so. So then we add Reggie.
Okay, so if we're down to include sort of like more scene accomplishments too, then definitely Reggie.
And then DeMonte, number 4, hands down.
I feel like it has to be Sneaky or High, one of the founding C9 members. Sneaky's accomplished the most internationally.
I'd probably say Sneaky.
Basically.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Sneaky, especially because his Mount Rushmore would definitely, people would be like, oh, there was a girl that competed in Cloud9 LCS.
Yeah, you get to have some more diversity on the Mount Rushmore.
It's a Sivir. Sivir Sneaky.
Yeah. I think High is close, but I think it just like he didn't have quite the longevity of Sneaky, and Sneaky had some of the later things like C9 getting out of groups 3 years in a row and stuff like that. Whereas High was arguably more important during the early years. But I'd take Sneaky.
Yeah, I think that's right. So I think it's Double F Bjergsen, Reggie, Sneaky.
Is there anyone we're forgetting? I know people are gonna say like Hotshot.
Zuna.
Meteos is a close one. Meteos versus High is close too, of those. Because Meteos is still kicking around.
Daydreamin'.
Smithy's close.
What about Yut Win?
I know he's been in chat all night, but no way.
Oh, Skara is actually, I think, a really good one. I would put Skara in the running with Xmithy.
No way. I would put. Wait, it's not even close.
I love.
Are we only giving credit to international success and team ownership?
What are you just saying from a brand perspective? Smithy's not enough of a brand to compete with Skara, who has offline TV. And are we starting to include offline TV in the NALCS Mount Rush?
No. His TFT play has been impeccable, and I give him a lot of credit for that.
I think Smithy has had the regional success and probably enough international, but just like hasn't been impactful enough in the scene quite like those other guys have been, you know?
What about, think about it for a second, Impact?
No. His greatest
Thought
success
about
was
it
in
for a
Korea.
second. Yeah.
But he's been in NA for so long.
You know, there's a lot of people that have been in NA for so long. I've been in NA all my life. You don't see me up there.
You're not as good as Impact, just saying.
Oh, we all have our strengths.
Yeah, I'm not seeing chat having too many better suggestions. Afro's a close one. He's had a lot of success, but
Patoy. Kobe, if he was here,
no.
would be a good option.
No. What about Korea, Travis?
This one I can't do.
What? How can you not do it? Faker.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
All 4 Faker.
Right, and then we got 3 more to go, and there's just so many gods over there over the time.
Flame?
Insec, I mean, you put him up there maybe?
Yeah, there's a lot from Korea.
Yeah, it's hard.
But Captain Jack, you go all the way back.
Mad Life?
No.
Mad Life, yeah.
I'm not too hot on a lot of the old guard, the same reason I wasn't in Europe, because there's a lot of them in Korea.
Deft, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like Def because he's been good for a really long time. But he went to China for like, was it 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I don't know about Def.
So what Impact then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't include Def maybe because he was gone for a while. I feel like Mad Life makes sense just because it's so important. Score has also been great for a long time. There's been like the weird thing about Korea is other than Faker, the top talent in each position cycles out pretty quickly.
Smith.
Like, yeah, because like Smeb was the best, then Khan was the best, then Keen, and then, you know, is it Naguri now? I don't know. You just kind of go through the cycle for top laners where each one has had like a year or two where they've been the best. 80 carry, I think Prey deserves it. He's been there forever and has been good the entire time. He had his first cycle of goodness in like the season 2 and 3, and then he had a second cycle of goodness with Rocks, which is really hard to do. I think Prey would be on it. Mod is tough because he kind of did the Def thing and came back and hasn't been as great. Bangy's had a ton of success.
I like the idea of putting Coma up there.
Coma, we're putting coaches. What is this? What are we? Europe giving Daylor the MVP of the week?
Put Daylor up there?
Yeah.
Well, either way, I think we can wrap up the call.
Yeah.
Ethics, is there anything you want to say before we move on to the next
No,
one?
I mean, I've watched Leagues Esports for a while, and you've been doing this for a long time, Travis. So you're doing a good job. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good
Thank
one.
you for the content. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good one. You want to go
Did you
grab
pull
our?
another
I
caller?
did pull a caller. They're in the waiting room.
Okay, nice.
All right, Mark is grabbing our next caller. Poro and Mars, thank you for the 16 months. Deadly Penguin, welcome to the show. Where are you calling
Hey.
from?
I'm calling from Bangalore, India, actually.
Where?
Oh, nice.
Bangalore, India.
Whoa! What time is it there?
It's 11 a.m.
Nice. Well, welcome to the show. Have you been on before?
No,
Okay, I just recognize your
long
name.
time listener. But
What do you want to talk about on the show?
I want to talk about that. Actually, I think this year has been like one of the best years of LoL to watch comparatively.
So how
Like
come?
I think the meta has been great. The tank meta is like pretty boring to watch. I think the storylines have been one of the best. Like the rise of Europe, the Korea trying to take back the throne.
TL winning or getting to finals at MSI?
Yeah, TL moving to finals. Has the gap closed or not? All the questions.
No, I actually saw somebody in the chat was mentioning just the meta this year. And Mark, I actually want to ask you about this because Deadly Penguin mentions the storylines in the meta. We have talked about some of the storylines, and I don't mind talking about them a little bit more. But I do wonder what you think of the meta because I've heard a lot of people praising that it feels like Riot's really refined, at least from a spectator perspective. The games are not, we don't have a lot of these like hour-long games
Right.
without any kills that Kelby used to complain about all the time, even just a year ago.
Yeah, I overall think they've done really, really well with it. I think the biggest thing, the kind of slow trimming of vision in the game has been really important to just make it so that there's not these guaranteed 100% safe plays that you force with insane vision control. And then, like Deadly Peng was saying, kind of forcing the tanks out. I think tanks can be fun. I'm not super opposed to tanks, and I think that they can be fun to watch when people have really nice engages and play tanks really well in team fights. But it's definitely, I admit, not as cool as like a Kali versus Aurelia in the top lane. Whoa! I understand that, but I think overall the meta has been really, really good to watch. I'm glad you clarified as like a to watch thing. 'Cause I've heard everyone complains every season about solo queue. I'm not sure how much worse it gets, but I think it's been great to watch.
Yeah, I've enjoyed that. I mean, it just feels like I just appreciate that it feels like the average game time has gone down a ton because I feel like short games can be really entertaining, and so can long games. But I feel like it's so much worse when you're stuck in a bad game and it's super long than whenever you can just like, bad game happens, you get out of it, it's a stomp, and you move on. And Mark missed most of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, totally. No, I totally agree. What was that?
Mark, I'm surprised you would have such a radical take on the future of esports.
What did I agree
Your
to?
agreement? No, no. I was just talking about how I appreciate that the game times. It feels like the game times have gotten way shorter, right? From a spectator esports perspective, I don't know what they're like actually in the game, but it feels like they've gotten like the average game time in LCS at least has dropped a ton, right?
It's dropped some. I think the bigger thing is there's not the outliers anymore.
Yes.
It's like, it was not uncommon to have on average like a 34 minute game time in previous seasons, but you would still have like the 80-minute stinkers.
Yeah.
And sometimes they got really bad. Like some of the seasons, you had like felt like 40-minute average.
Well, and that was my point too, was that, you can have really entertaining games that are long and you can have really entertaining games that are short. But the bad games just feel so bad when you're stuck in like a 70-minute game where like neither team can close it out. And I realize every now and then that still happens, but it definitely feels like it's happening way less.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is there's not those, which were like, I was coaching a team in one of those, like for a period of time. Complexity versus Curse was one of the longest games ever, and it was just like, ugh. There's a bit of a beauty in just the slog fest. People are so bad that everyone's kind of laughing, but no one actually really wants those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the storylines one though is something I'm bittersweet on. I feel like North America got the Game of Thrones ending, and everyone else got decent ones. I don't know if Korean fans would agree, but like they were good. They got 3 teams out of groups in the first spot before they kind of choked and SKT lost in semis. But that's sports. Have a taste of moderate success instead of being just the best forever. LPL continues winning. EU almost won. They made it finals. They're looking really good. And then NA is just like whoop at World. So I feel like we got Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I don't know. Being an NA fan is hard. We've talked about it on a million episodes, but I do agree that there were just a lot of really great storylines throughout this year, and it does feel like League Esports. I'll give you. Here's one thing. I think it was last year when Fortnite was blowing up, and everyone was starting to say League was going to die. And this year, 2019, I feel like it's a really great year for League Esports. I mean, Overwatch League, because Overwatch League also launched last year, and everyone was freaking out about it. And what I think this year has taught us is League is still on top, baby. All right, like Fortnite, they're doing their thing, but they're doing a wildly different thing, and I think it's declined a little bit. And Ninja's now on Mixer, nobody watches him. And
Ninja killed Fortnite.
And Overwatch League, they're forcing an expansion next year that is probably not going to be great as they move to doing all this home and away system. And I don't know, I feel like people have gotten kind of tired of that. Call of Duty League is happening, and they can't even get 100 Thieves to be a part of that, and 100 Thieves is like the Call of Duty org, next to Optic, and I guess FaZe. So it's interesting to me to now look at 2019. I remember in 2018 I was seriously thinking like, oh fuck, I love League. I don't want.
How do I get into Fortnite?
Yeah, I was like, I love League. I don't want to do other stuff, but like, am I from a career perspective going to end up in a bad place if League starts to bleed out? And these other games become these huge things. And you say that, but even now, like next year, we're talking to Alienware about trying to do coverage of Riot's other games. So I don't know. I feel like 2019 has been a really good year for League of Legends fans after like a worrisome 2018. And for me, at least, I feel really excited about it.
Yeah, I think, not everything ends. And so at some point, things are
not until after I'm dead. League LCS will keep going. Everything's going to be
everything
great.
ends at some point. But I think getting through 2018 and having such a good 2019 is a very positive showing that like what will kill League is not something else. It will be like the fans moving on slowly over time as they just get older and move on in life, more so than like hot new game dropped.
Yeah.
The same way like WoW comes and goes in cycles, I feel like will happen with and stuff like that with Riot, more so than like the WoW killer has arrived.
Diddly Penguin. How big is League in India? Actually, I don't know this.
It's not big at all, actually. I think like Dota and CS:GO are much more popular in India.
All right, well, we're screwed. There you go. That after we hyped up League, that's the answer we get. Well, either way, thank you for calling in. Hopefully, 2020 becomes the big year for League of Legends in India. Is there anything you want to say as we move on to the next caller?
No, not really. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. You want to grab the next call?
Yeah, let me go ahead and.
No, I mean, I think we've pretty much closed out the year with this episode. We
are we doing resolutions now or next year?
Do we have resolutions?
I don't know. Do you have a resolution? Have you thought about it yet?
I don't believe in resolutions. I feel like they're just you give them up in the second week, and it's really bad. But we should do that.
Yeah,
next
that's
year.
why it's fun. We should hold each other to our resolutions.
Well, here we've got a couple minutes here at the end of the episode. What are areas that
I'm disappointed in you in? Hold on, I have a document.
Well, let's each do one disappointment for LCS and maybe like League Esports this year, North American League Esports, and one thing that we were excited about.
And this is Riot or League?
Variety or teamy or something like that. You know, just the ecosystem. Maybe, hopefully not a player. We're disappointed in this player or something.
I'm really disappointed in. I would say let's start positive. I think like the League 10 thing made me really excited. More excited for like Riot related projects and stuff than I had been. And I was even aware of 90% of the things they announced already, but just like the package that it came with, how they showed it all off and all that made me super, super excited. So I'd say that was definitely for me this year, the big positive. And just seeing how much more potential there is for things to come, even if, you know, I'm not directly a part of some of those because there's no way they're going to get me for the fighting game or anything like that, but I'm still excited that that's coming out.
Well, here, I want to start mine with the negative so that we end on a positive. I think for me, I've been really disappointed in, by the way, completely agree with you on the League 10 stuff. That's got me really excited. But I've been really disappointed in just like the LCS brand this year. I don't feel like it really moved that far as an entity. Everything was kind of just more of the same. Like, I feel like the biggest thing that happened on the broadcast was Jet unretiring, which is not that exciting.
He also retired this year, so he did both. He retired and unretired.
Yeah, and that I feel like it's the most exciting thing that happened throughout this year. So, from an LCS perspective, obviously, you know, TL, blah blah blah. I just mean like the LCS as a product. I think that was really disappointing to me. Is that there just wasn't much movement or development or anything interesting happening there, from other than the thing that I'm going to say is my positive. But yeah, I think that was kind of the thing. Mark, what's your negative?
I think it might be, and this is maybe too much of a shot, but I'd say Reddit. And not just like the League community, but also like the mods and everything going on the subreddit and stuff. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff too, just with Riot Games that came out this year that's like obviously pretty massive disappointment. But that's probably not League esports related enough. So I would say the just like how many things get taken down that feel cool, how much people bash on Reddit, on Twitter, like all the League content creators, myself included, bash on Reddit, which then has like a negative consequence. And then Reddit itself feels more negative. I feel like people say that every year.
No, it's been, I've been so disappointed. Like, obviously I was personally, whatever, the giant thread.
Torn apart like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. But like, Shox wins that award, and some of the, like, people say, you know, oh, it's the internet. People are going to leave shitty comments. The thing that sucks is whenever those comments are like upvoted a ton. Like, yeah, I'm not surprised that there's like weird sexist shit downvoted at the very bottom of the thread. But whenever you look at the top of the thread and like Shox wins an award and people are like, oh, it's because she posts bikini pictures. I'm like, really? Like, it's weird to me because
that's like a live stream fail comment.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's just been weird. And then all that stuff that happened with the TCS this week where like teams that were losing in the TCS were just getting hard flamed, and now like DeMonte's getting shit on. And I forget who it was. Somebody tweeted that, you know, players competing in the TCS are trying to fight for their Reddit careers or whatever. I forget.
Yeah, it was Cloud9 player, I think.
Yeah. Niski maybe or somebody, but
yeah, I remember seeing it. Yeah,
it was. It was it's been really weird lately. I actually was thinking about making a Reddit thread that was literally just like, for the holiday spirit, say something positive, you know, without putting, because that's the other thing, is it feels like nobody can ever say anything without putting somebody else down. Like,
yeah,
oh, Mark's my favorite because Crumb sucks. You know, it's just and it becomes, let me list all the reasons Crumb sucks, which is why Mark is my favorite. So it's just been,
and to be fair, like those things have always been there. I feel like that's how people just have always kind of talked about it, but just the overall sense of it has been worse, I guess. And I don't know. Especially like at Worlds and like at MSI, like a lot of the casters, man, this is like, feels like you're navigating landmines when you're on broadcast sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah,
that's my negative. As you mentioned, the world stuff where people were just super on edge because they were, I don't know, Shocks and I did that whole interview. I guess, so then the thing that I was positive about is, I know this is going to be really boring for a lot of the audience, but we talk frequently about, and it was a huge thing for me, the lack of sponsorship of the LCS. And I think they were a little generous with their language around partners, but they did say that they had 11 partners and 10 of them, or 91% of them, whatever that means, are coming back next year for LCS, are already recommitted to next year. And I think Riot tried with certain things like ProView, which ultimately I would say was kind of a miss so far, at least. But I think they've done a really good job of trying this year. And there's a guy over there named Matt Archibald. I always forget how to say it, but he's a great guy. And he got hired at the very end of last year. And he's like this one dude. And I know he works with some other people, but from what I can tell, like the LCS partnerships and sales team, I know they're expanding and have hired a couple people. But he, I think, did a really good job this year of bringing on board a bunch of partners. So I was really excited about that. It feels good. The work is certainly not done yet, of course. I'm sure there's a ton more to do, and figuring out which of those partners are actually paying, what the league is worth. But I think that's been really excited. I've been excited about that.
I think you can lump LEC in as well, just as a whole, for both your negative and your positive, because they're I think one of the reasons you're saying like the NA LCS felt so samey was because just across the ocean there was like this whole new thing, and even if you didn't like the kind of like gradients or some of the vertical, whatever, you might have rubbed some people that they didn't like about the LEC. At least it was like dope and cool and new. And also they got a bunch of partners. So like I think LEC had a great year as well.
Yeah.
With also the fact that Europe and G2 are dope.
Well, that's probably the last episode. I can't imagine we're going to do one that Mark says he's free the 30th, but I feel like everything's going to be quiet. I don't know, something will happen. We won't be able to do it. So either way, thanks so much to everyone for watching the show. Stick around if you're watching live stream. I'm going to show a very funny. I'm going to set I'm going to do a bounty, and then we're going to show a really funny video, which is either the worst or the Mac to Ace has now given another 5 subs. He did it earlier too. He's up to like 35 subs gifted. I think the vast majority of them are this episode. Thank you so much.
What a beast.
Mark, anything that you want to shout out?
No, actually no. This time I'm not doing the TFT thing this week. Flying out back home, going to visit Boston with Ashley.
She was wearing a Santa hat earlier in the background. I was going to ask if she was doing that purposely.
It's not a Santa hat, just a hat.
Oh, really? It looked like a Santa hat.
No, it just had like a little thing on it,
like a cotton ball bob.
Yeah,
like you'd have on a Santa hat.
Yeah, but without the fact that it's felt or red or green.
Well, it's good to see she's in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, but that's mostly it. We're just going to go visit my family. How far into Death
Stranding are you, and how much are you going to play during the break?
I don't know. I have connected the first 3 places: the wind farm, the outpost.
Act 3. Get to Act 3.
Okay.
Death Stranding is the game of the decade.
It's not. Tim Rogers, one of your favorite people, put Dark Souls.
Look, don't spoil it.
You told me that.
Yeah, I said I'm gonna put it in the chat so that you don't see, so people can go watch the Tim Rogers video.
Oh, that's right. You did do that. But you brought it up because I was talking about how great Dark Souls is. It was very transparent.
I don't think that's not actually true at all. I said you could predict what it is, and you said Dark Souls. Listen, Twitch chat. I'm sorry. Go watch the Tim Rogers video anyway. It's great. Huge. I've been consuming like all of his content lately. It's incredible. All right. Well, my shoutouts are.
Have you ever watched a Matthew Matosis video? You got to get on Matthew Matosis too.
Thank you to everybody.
Those are probably 2 of the best content creators in gaming.
Sub John G365 and Sad and Dasher. Thank you everyone for the subs. Thanks to everyone for the gifted subs. It's been great doing the show, and I thank everyone for the year that we've had here on Hotline League. We hit 100 episodes this year. We did multiple live shows.
You know what the best thing of the decade is? You watching at home right now.
And on that emotional moment, we'll see you all in 2020.